Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you all are having a fantastic day. On behalf of Vishwa Netrutvam, the official Mechanical Engineering Club of VIT Pune, I extend a warm and hearty welcome to each and every one of you. Today, we are gathered here for the third episode of our flagship podcast series, Engineers Blueprint, a series where we bring you inspiring stories straight from the minds shaping the future engineering. And trust me, today's episode is extremely special. Why? Because we have with us a remarkable individual, a VIT Pune alumnus who has walked the same corridor as us, attended the same lectures, and faced the same career dilemmas. But what sets him apart is his incredible journey from VIT Pune to the prestigious NMIMS Mumbai. Meet Mr. Amol Kawade, a dynamic mechanical engineer and management strategist who is pursuing his MBA from NMIMS Mumbai. With a passion for supply chain and operations management, he has successfully blended technical expertise with leadership acumen. His experience spans across roles as formal project intern at Havels India Limited and a research intern at VIT Pune. Additionally, he has excelled in competitive management entrance exams like CAT and OMETs and SNAP, providing his exceptional strategic mindset. So I would like to welcome Amol for our third episode of our Engineers Blueprint. Welcome, Amol.
Thank you, Darshan, for that grand welcome. So, just to make it crisp, I'm not some like whatever management strategist thing you mentioned. I'm just one of you guys, just a year older to you. Just passed out last year itself. I still belong somewhere in VIT, for that matter, even being in NMIMS. So, whatever about management, let's just jump in there and let's see what all you guys have in mind, and I'll try to answer my best.
Okay. So, uh, so how do you feel to be back with like virtually to the VN and the mechanical engineering and the VIT Pune?
Yeah, it feels really amazing in that sense. Like a year ago, I was at Atharva's position, just managing the club and the workings of the department, and now here on the other side as a guest. Feels really great, and as knowledge needs to flow, as far as I understand, that many of our students, all the students of our college, third year, fourth year, every one of them needs to know what are the different career pathways that they can choose after engineering. And for that matter, VIT offers a large set of opportunities. We had enough freedom, and I'm sure you guys must be having it now as well. A lot of freedom to explore a lot of things, to go through management, engineering, research. All of these domains, when I went outside VIT, were very rare to find at just one place. Not everyone gets opportunities altogether at once. So I think that is why it is very essential for the students of VIT at least to be redirected in a very right direction, and even if not redirected, just have the right knowledge of what should they do, and that is what I think makes it really great.
Surely, our alumnus are surely they are helping us in each and every way. Like we had a talk recently around a month ago, and you guided me for the MBA and all. So let's start with the podcast.
Sure.
Actually, when I was curating the questions for the interview, one of the question which popped up my mind was very famous question for any MBA aspirant, and surely I am. The question which popped up was why MBA? Like surely this question was I guess this question was asked you during your interview,
Yep.
and it is also I would like to request you to guide our audience how to tackle this question during interview, because surely every engineer faces this question at least once in his lifetime.
Definitely. Why MBA is the kind of most hottest question any MBA aspirant would be asked, and it is asked almost in every interview. You can remove the word almost as well. It's asked in every single interview you give for MBA. So majorly the question why MBA is not about why you want to do MBA. For any graduate person who holds any degree apart from business administration, the question is majorly that why don't you want to continue in your graduate degree? Like for us engineers, why MBA doesn't mean that why you want to do MBA, but it is essentially a justification of why you don't want to continue in engineering and join MBA. So in the entire why MBA question, the first part that one needs to make extremely clear is that I had certain passion for my undergraduate degree. I liked it. I was able to do great at it. And now, moving further, I want to explore more bigger ventures. And that is the point where I want to stop here and explore the horizon of management where things are ending, where things are almost endless. And you can explore literally every other industry, every other domain, and make a difference in the industry apart from just single domain. And this is how the why MBA question needs to be framed. That first of all, let's take an example of us engineers. That okay, I understand engineering to this extent. I've done these things in engineering. They interested me a lot, but I want to explore these things further. I want to make a larger impact in the industry apart from just engineering the industry through, and further move to manage it. And that is where MBA comes into picture for me. And then you need to dive somewhere into the specifics of MBA, of how MBA is going to help you. Those things can be pretty personal for each and every person. Like for me, I always used to say that being a mechanical engineer, I always had very large amount of interest in the assemblies, the layout of the plants, how things are being produced, and that led me to production. And further, now production escalated to operations and supply chain management, where all of these things are controlled to a larger extent. So this is how you just relate it through and make it more like a framed answer instead of just answering why MBA. Because majority of the time when anyone usually thinks of why he or she wants to do an MBA, the first and foremost answer is the package. MBAs do have a fat package out there, and that is the reason many of the students want to pursue MBA. That's fine. There's no loss in that. But any institute wouldn't want you to pursue their degree just for this particular reason. They will always want you to have some larger vision in mind, and that is where this entire framework of why MBA answer comes in. And this is how you might frame it. You might have got an idea of how it can be framed in this way of connecting through your undergrad degree, and then further escalating it to how exactly you want to do an MBA and why a specific type of MBA. So that is how I think why MBA might be framed.
Yeah, I guess this is the best answer. Like I have gone through number of numerous of YouTube videos to get the answer. Like I wanted to do MBA, I want to do MBA, but the clear answer I might not be able to answer it. So this was the best answer. Like frame it according to your undergrad degree, and then moving like the future of the undergrad degree is the MBA. This was one of the best answers. So moving towards the next question, again, why mechanical engineering? Because I remember during my time, it was a high time of tech, like it was a boom in tech field. The pandemic has happened, and there was a boom in tech field, and also due to peer pressure, I was in the first priority round. I was forced to get a CS seat in another college, but I never liked coding as much. Although I was having computer science as my electives in 12th, and I preferred mechanical engineering because I had a certain interest in that. Same question for you: why mechanical engineering?
So mechanical engineering, for that matter, is I feel it's still the mother of engineering, because
Yeah,
there are a lot of things in mechanical engineering, and even the evolution that is happening in mechanical engineering with terms of industry 4.0, now even industry 5.0 has come up. So these things make mechanical engineering a very interesting branch where you don't just learn about machines, you essentially learn about how engineering works. And further, as far as the tech or circuit part is concerned, of the coding, programming part, connecting things through the internet, through the network, and all of those things, I think mechanical engineering still has a component of it. Many of the mechanical engineers learn Python, do data analytics in Python. Many mechanical industries now I know have a great base out of robotics, and robotics just can't function without the entire programming and coding part. So I think even back 4 years or 5 years back when I thought of doing mechanical engineering, even I had somewhere a thought of getting into computer because it was a boom at that time, definitely. But the major part which drove me towards mechanical engineering was okay, agreed that computer engineers might earn great, they have a very great curriculum, it's booming right now. But where will they use it? if there are no machines. Machines are the
Yeah, right.
first and foremost things which can be connected, and that is where the computer engineering actually boomed to the robotics. And that is the reason I felt that mechanical engineering is the essential part. You first need to understand the fundamentals, and then coding or programming is something which will be learned by the time. And I would like to mention a very, like, a great truth about the industry right now, that whether you are from mechanical, chemical, industrial, whatever branch you name it, or even if you are some kind of commerce graduate or anything like that, once you climb a certain amount of ladder in the industry, especially if it's somehow connected to engineering, you have to do coding at a point. There is no escape from it. Even if you are a computer engineer or not, doesn't matter, you have to do coding. As of today, by the time I was in fourth year, I had to do coding. I had learned Python. I used to build ML models, and that just went in flow. I was never forced to do it. It was kind of the need of the industry, and everyone has to do it. So I didn't really think, or never really regretted that I never chose computer engineering. Instead, I was more firm on my thought that yes, I made the right choice by going to the fundamentals rather than going towards the trend.
Yeah, surely. That was one of the reasons of me to choose the mechanical engineering. Like machines, although we like computer, it is also an machine. So why not go to straightforward to mechanical engineering, and why to go to CS? So thank you for the answer. Uh, Coming towards the next question, we will deep dive into CAT preparation, or be it any management interest tests. So, what are the three most things that we as an engineer should focus on during our CAT preparation? And also, if you can share some resources like from where you had done your CAT prep.
Okay, sure. So I would really like to appreciate Darshan that you mentioned for us engineers, because else this answer would have been really difficult and rather very different, and wouldn't have been that much helpful. So for engineers, typically, CAT preparation is very different compared to any other undergrad if you compare. The major thought behind this is that CAT comprises of three sections. First one is quantitative aptitude, second one is logical reasoning and data interpretation, and third is VRC, verbal ability and reading comprehension. So
Yes.
these are the three sections. For any other graduate, majorly the easy section is VRC. But for an engineer, the most easy section is quantitative ability, Q. The easiest section for us. We have done maths since long, since our birth, I would say. We are great at it.
Yeah.
Engineers can just do the maths that is in CAT with extreme ease, and that is the advantage engineers have. And that is where time management becomes the most critical job, because even if we say we can do QA, if given those 20 to 24 questions that come in CAT, we can do all of them, all 24 of them with extreme ease. But even the people who make sense out of it and make the QA section especially time consuming. And that is where we go at a disadvantage even when knowing the most difficult subject of CAT. And that is where the preparation part comes into picture. For an engineer, getting through the syllabus and doing all the basics, all of that basic stuff is fine. But for an engineer specifically, the greatest part is in QA section, where he has to maintain his pace, his or her pace. In LRDI section, it is just about the practice all the time. Even there, engineers do have an edge, because we are better at problem solving and critical thinking compared to any other one, because engineering problems is something we have solved continuously. And LRDI is somewhere close if you can relate. The greatest difficulty for an engineer is VRC. If
Yes.
you haven't studied it through, even if you have had English till 12th class, trust me, you don't know English for VRC. You just don't know it. You need to relearn
Completely agree.
every single thing for VRC. It's very detailed, it's very deep, and definitely the most confusing section of the entire CAT exam. Engineers are specifically known for ruining VRC section. So for VRC, it is extremely advisable for engineers that if you are targeting CAT in 2027, let's say, then by the mid of 2026, you must read newspaper each and every day. English newspapers. You must read some kind of books, novels, in whatever domain or whatever genre you like. But you need to read. You need to keep reading. I remember doing my preparation of CAT in the last 5 to 6 months of before the exam. I had finished close to 6 books in just those time span of 2 to 3 weeks. And that is how you need to be resilient at the reading. And only then you are able to stand the exam. I'm not saying that you are able to conquer it. You are just able to stand the exam. Conquering it requires far more effort, as I said, that you need to go through newspapers, you need to read books, solving questions, solving paper, all of these things are mandatory. I'm not saying that these things can be substituted by those. Here for QA, you need to practice hard, you need to get the syllabus covered, then solve mock papers. For LIDA, you need to practice hard, you need to time well, you need to solve the mock papers, you need to attempt questions at a greater pace. For VRC as well, you need to keep the habit of reading the comprehensions, solving the questions, and the other types of questions like para completion and all. You need to keep solving them. All of these things are fine. These are kind of the basic requirements. But for an engineer, the major three things I would always say to anyone, or even say to myself now, if I get a chance to interact with the Amol in 2023, the three things are: for QA, ensure speed at a great extent. When I was back from my CAT paper and sat again at night, I was easily able to solve all of those 22 questions of QA. But it just took time, around 1 to 1.5 hours. Whereas I had only 40 minutes to solve in the paper. And that is where I was just able to get through some 10 or 14 questions, if I remember it correctly. So for QA, you need to maintain the pace. You need to ensure that you have a great hand-on practice over all the concepts. Second, for LRDI, LRDI is a patience tester. You need to wait to get the LRDI questions right. You need to get only 1 or 2 sets correct, and you are there. Out of the 4 LRDI sets, I had got just 2 sets correct, and my LRDI percentile was 99.96. So LRDI is just a patience tester. You need to be patient for it. And for VRC, read. Just read. Reading is all that makes sense for VRC if you are an engineer.
Completely. I am doing my CAT prep, and the teachers, they always say, like, if you are an engineer, you will you will be at ease with cont and DILR. Once you start practicing it, it will be at ease. But for VRC, there is no any other alternative than reading. I for myself, and also it may be true for many of the others, reading is one of the things that okay, so Kashish, the first subject is QA, which stands as quantitative aptitude. Next, second is DILR, data interpretation and logical reasoning, and third VARC, so verbal ability and reading comprehension, like our basic English, but it's not basic. Trust me. Uh, so there was so for the VRC, reading is must. So coming towards our next question, yeah, yeah. So coming to our next question, how to tackle DALR? Like how to find that 2 sets from the 4 or from the 3 that we can choose, or like we can see and see this is the set. Like I have done a DALR last 1 month, but I am not able to find that one set which will be cracked easily and which will consume less time. So what is the strategy behind it?
Okay, so this is one of the most vividly asked question ever, that how to get that one set which is the easy set for it. So first thing that you need to keep in mind is that you take up any paper of any past year's CAT, there is one single set which can be solved with extreme ease. There has been not a single paper where all the 4 sets were difficult. You take any set, at least one set of LRDI will definitely be easy. So the first job is that if let's say we have 40 minutes, right? So in those 40 minutes, your first 5 to 8 minutes should completely comprise of reading through all those 4 sets. And before that, in your preparation phase, it is very essential that you are familiar with all types of sets that can come across LRDI. That maybe jumbling of numbers, placing things in right place, then even match the pair type sets, and all of these things. You need to be familiar with all the types that can possibly come in the exam. And in those first 7 to 8 minutes, you need to identify which four types of sets have come today. Once you are there, you're close to 20 to 30% done. Because after that, there is something called as a comfort level.
Yeah.
Choose only the topics which you are comfortable with. Because in the pressure of those 40 minutes, if you choose an uncomfortable topic, even if the set is easy, you won't be able to solve it. Because you don't have that kind of comfort with that set. And the pressure is immense. You just can't handle it. So at that point, choose the most easiest area that you are comfortable with and then try solving it set.
Okay.
For LRDI, keep always a timestamp. Let's say we took first 7 minutes to go through all four sets. Let's take 8 minutes. 2 minutes per set we took. 8 minutes for going through the sets. Then you took that most comfortable area out, took some 7 minutes to solve, to try attempting it once. Once you see there is a point where you are stucking at, leave it. At the 15th minute, if you are not sure how the easiest set would go further, just leave that set for now. And for LRDI, one big recommendation from my side is do the rough work in a very nice way. Make sure you don't mess up the rough work, because there have been so many instances that you crack one set and you suddenly remember the logic that might crack the previous set which was uncracked till now, and you go back to the page where you had done rough work and you see values scattered all over and you have to start all over again. You have wasted your time, you have wasted that shit. Now even if you reach again at the same stage where you had left, you won't have, you maybe won't have time to complete the set till the end, even if you know the logic now. So you write out lose 15 marks for that, and that is something very heavy to lose.
Yeah.
So after those 15 minutes, you need to move forward, get to the another set. It is very essential to attempt all the four sets, but you need to attempt them in a way that psychologically you are confident at different at all the four stages. Because if you choose a wrong set on the first attempt only, the first set you attempt is a wrong set, which is difficult or maybe not comfortable to you, you're already gone. Your confidence is shattered and you don't know how the next three sets might turn out. And that is the reason we
Yeah.
chose the easiest set first of your comfort area. Might be that set is the toughest set of your entire exam, but that's fine because you are comfortable with that area. Even if you lose out, you understand, okay, these are the things which are not being not getting connected, and that is why it is not able to be cracked. So let's leave it for a while, we'll go ahead. And that is how this entire strategy of LRDA works. You take small things, you try. By the end of 25th minute, you are sure that what two sets would be cracked. This is a guarantee that you can be sure about this if you try with this method. This was advised to us by one of our mentors, and if you have decent amount of practice, this definitely works. By the end of 25th minute, you know what sets can be cracked, and as you have solved 50-50 or 60-60% of each set, now you know what is that left up 50 to 40% of the amount, and you hardly need next 10 minutes to crack two
10
more sets.
minutes to solve.
You are done by the 35th minute.
This is one of the best strategy I have ever heard. Like, if you go across all the four sets and you find out, and 50-60% of the work is already done, then the next 10 minutes are just solving the questions and getting the answers.
Right,
So
exactly.
yeah, it was a great answer. Surely our audience is having their answers correct. So now we are done with the CAT prep. Moving towards counseling, or what we say like admission procedure of the CAT. What's with this VAT, PI, and GD? Like, uh, uh,
Okay.
from my point of view, like we are giving a CAT exam, then you are taking us for VAT, that written ability test. Then some of the colleges also take us for group discussion. From that, if we shortlisted, then we have a personal interview call, and from that, then we will get the seat. What's with this long procedure? And also one thing, like how VIT, or what we can say, the position of responsibilities in any clubs committees of the VIT helps us to crack the VAT or PI. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, cool. So this might be the most longest answer I give because I myself have spent a lot of time on researching how all of these exams work, what all a student needs to attempt, and how majorly all of these things impact for a fresher. Now, I have joined MBA as a fresher. There are multiple
Fresh.
students who join with a year, 2 or 3 of work experience, and that is how an entire MBA classroom looks like. You have a fresher on one end, you have someone who has worked 3 years in the industry, has already been something like a deputy manager or a manager, and you two sit in one classroom, work together. That is the essence of an entire MBA classroom, peer learning. But that being apart, how exactly the counseling process, which we can essentially call here to combine all of it, works is that first of all, MBA doesn't have a centralized admission process. The biggest,
Okay.
what I can say, glitch of MBA cracking and MBA entrance examinations. They don't have a centralized admission process, and hence the biggest part for any aspirant is that he needs to keep a watch on every single thing possible. And it's not like just the IIMs are great colleges. IIMs, only the top 8 to 10 are the best of the best colleges. After that, the colleges are great, but not the best of the best colleges. Even of those 10, 12 IIMs, there are other colleges which have a better rank than them. The
Yeah.
ranking is mentioned. Me being from one of the colleges, I can't directly comment on any ranking. But yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, you can go through the NIRF rankings. They are pretty much self-sufficient for this matter, and the rest, the placement reports might help out well. One easy thing to benchmark any college is that take the placement report, whatever its average package is, that's its benchmark. Because
Yeah.
at the end, it's about the placement to get
Yeah.
out of a postgraduate college.
ROI is the main thing.
Exactly, ROI. So that is one essence. After that, about keeping the watch. IIM colleges, all the 21 IIMs and the multiple courses that you get through them through the CAP admission process is one thing. And now CAP has just a single interview. So if you are above a certain percentile, you will get called for one interview. It's mostly an online interview these days. Once that interview is done, you are eligible for all the CAP colleges, and they rank you accordingly based on what college you can crack based on that interview. Apart from that, you need to study thoroughly because there are multiple other colleges, majorly the IITs, uh, one or two NITs, and some other private colleges. These have
SPGen.
multiple others, not just one. So all of these have a completely decentralized admission process. Even some IIMs, IIM Mumbai and IIM Vishwakarma have a decentralized process as of now. They don't operate under CAP. They have their own entire separate process for interview and all of it. So you need to keep a detailed watch on whatever deadlines, whatever updates that come out from these colleges. For this, you can follow multiple Instagram channels. Instagram is the best source for keeping a watch,
Yes.
literally the best source. Because we check Instagram every day, and just that one post helps you out a lot. You need to keep telling the dates, on what dates the forms will be released, how the process will go. You will get all the updates if you follow the right channels. um,
Yeah.
my personal recommendation, a few channels that I followed were, one was Cat King. Cat King was
Yeah.
really great with the updates it has. Second one was Cat Guruji, that also went really great. And the third one was iQuanta,
Yeah.
IQUANTA.
MTA.
These three are literally top up with the updates. They continuously keep posting the updates, whatever happens, whatever changes are being made in the admission processes. You get to know about them right out. Then, once you move ahead from this, you crack the exams, you get the calls. Then comes the VAT and PI part, where you need to be yourself. That is the only thing we say when we ask anyone about VAT and PI, that you need to be yourself for the PI. Because think about it. Uh, let's say I am a fresher sitting there with no work experience. I have just written exams for 4 years in colleges. Then I've done some internships, let's say two, three, or
Internships.
might be some even don't do. That's fine. And I am sitting with someone who has worked for 3 years in the industry, who has completed multiple projects, who has worked on ground, who has operated or completed a project of some at least 10, 15, 20 crores. And I am sitting in a competition with him to become a manager. At first place, this sounds unfair, that I am at a great disadvantage. But no, it's not that way. A person who has worked in the industry does have certain idea about it, but at the same time, he or she has biased opinions with
Yeah,
respect to the
correct.
industry and with respect to the management in general, based on whatever he or she has seen in those 3 years, 2 or 3 years, whatever it is. Whereas a fresher has a completely fresh mind, which can be groomed accordingly, the latest trends, the latest happenings in the industry, the latest updates of whatever is going on in the industry, and through that, he or she can be made an efficient manager just through the process of learning. Whereas in terms of someone who has a work experience, there has to be a lot of unlearning, then relearning, and then the person becomes a manager as efficient as a fresher.
Yeah.
So I think that process gives us kind of an advantage in the interview. Further, about cracking it, first thing for VAT is nothing but just a structured examination. There are certain structures that you need to follow for it. One widely known approach is the STAR approach for it, STAR.
Yeah.
Very well known. If you use this approach, you are done with the VAT. You just get through it easy. And I think this can be a hack for it, because most of the cases are solved through the STAR approach. And if
Star approach.
something can't be solved through it, then there are multiple other approaches as well, but this is one of the most famous ones. Further, for the PI, as I said, a PI is just about knowing yourself. First of all, as an aspirant or as a candidate, we ourselves need to know what we are. We need to
Yeah.
realize on how things have been, how engineering has been, what all I have learned through engineering, and what is my passion towards MBA. So all these things dive deep for that entire 20-30 minutes of PI, and that is how it works. So firstly, you need to know yourself in and out. That is where the introduction part comes in, where you need to introduce yourself. And as very well said, it is first impression is the last impression. That is what
Last.
introduction is. You introduce yourself in a nice way, and you are the driver of the interview. If you go wrong in the introduction, the panelist becomes the driver of the interview, and then he can take you to hell. You don't have any possibility. You just have to keep the steering in your hand so that you drive the interview wherever you want to it to go. Because everyone's profile has certain strong points, and even the panelist knows that. Just we have to make sure that he asks us about those strong points only, not about anything else. Because if he asks us about the weak points, now most of the engineers, let's say for that matter, we have comparatively less grades in 12th standard because of our JE preparations.
Play preparations.
Yes, exactly. The boards have really bad grades. Everyone has 70, 60, 80s. Whereas in our 10th and engineering, we have 9 plus.
9
So
plus. Yeah.
this difference is easily notable and anyone can ask it. But all you have to do is make sure that he or she, the panelist, doesn't ask you about these things. So interview is all about telling the right things in a very right way, and if asked about the wrong things, knowing yourself so as you can dodge them and tell them in a more constructive way rather than destructing your own profile. So this is how an interview would work. For an interview preparation, majorly I would say the general information about you. Next, if you are an engineer, know engineering to an extent. You need to understand how things are working in your engineering. For me, I would say I was asked about mechanical engineering, what different types of gears are, how different machines works, certain basic questions, just to validate that, oh, I am a trusted mechanical
Mechanical
engineer, I
engineering.
can do some mechanical engineering kind of work. Okay, that's great. You know mechanical engineering. Further, what are your interests and how are you driven towards MBA? These
Okay.
are very straightforward questions. In an interview, these might be twisted and then asked. But at the end, the question remains the same. That why are you wanting to do an MBA? Then again, the way I told about why MBA, you need to
First
connect to
question.
it and make a roadmap for them. Further, what
Yeah.
are your interests and how, as a manager's job is extremely hectic, do you think you will be able to stay there? For that, they usually ask you about your passion, how you are trying to work around, and how you think. Majorly, that's the objective of it. So that question goes in, and at last, somewhere your knowledge or your power of problem solving is tested. Majorly, there are types of questions called guesstimates. Usually, they are asked towards the end of interview, and majority, if I say, if you are being asked a guesstimate, you are a good choice. They consider you as
Okay.
a good choice, and you are moving further, and that is why they have asked you guesstimate. Okay, tell us this final thing. If you are done, you are in. If you are not, you are out. Kind of thing.
Okay.
Many times, even if you are not able to solve it, you get in. But yeah, guesstimates, it's kind of a decider thing. You can search about it. Guesstimates is more like guessing the things. Now, let's say the question is, figure out the number of aeroplanes that fly every day from Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj International Airport. You
Guessing.
don't have to tell a number. You have to tell a logic on how are you going to figure out for it. Are all the selection rounds eliminator? Yeah. No, not really, not an eliminator. The exam is an eliminator round. VAT and PI come as a package. If you are going to give VAT, then you also get to give the PI. All these three things, majorly only these three stages are there. Even if there is a group discussion, you get a chance to give the group discussion and then the PI, both of them. There is no
Okay.
eliminator part in it. Exam is definitely the eliminator.
Yeah.
All right, so that is how the entire VAT and PI thing would work.
Yeah. So great answer. Like it was just yeah. It's a very example. Uh, so
Yeah, so Prayas, right? So Prayas, the thing is that even though there are multiple exams of CAT, as I said, the entire admission process is decentralized. So every exam has its own conduction body, and the biggest glitch here is that all exams happen at different times. The results come out at different times, and most of the times you have to make a choice on whether you want to prefer. Yes, syllabus is definitely,
syllabus.
the topic names are up and down, but at the end the syllabus stays the same. There's no problem with it.
I think only the difficulty level changes with
Yeah,
what we can say, like NMAT may be slightly lower difficulty level,
exactly.
whereas CAT having a higher difficulty level.
Yes, it is
The
similar
syllabus is
to,
completely same.
yes, it is similar to the JE format we had in 12th, that the
Yeah,
main JE or here the CAT being the most difficult exam, and
difficult.
the others one having their own format which makes it difficult, but the actual question difficulty level reduces drastically in each of the exams. For especially for MBA CET, the difficulty level is literally zero. You just have to learn basic maths, basic English, and basic LIDI to get through it, and you are done. But the biggest problem is time. You need to
Yeah,
make sure you finish those 200 questions within time and with great accuracy to score. Because for CET, the actual cutoff for getting really great colleges is 180 out of 200. So you understand, right? You get a margin only to reduce 20 out of those 200 questions. All right.
yeah,
Yes.
yes. So yeah, like the engineering CET, it was the case was the same. Like you have to be speedy in solving. Whereas as a JE aspirant, we were like, okay, one question can take two to 3 minutes. Yeah. So now coming towards the next part, like we have done with the CAT prep, we have done with the counseling. Now, how is NMIMS treating you? Like, Can you explain what's the life in an MIMS? The glass building. It feels a luxury to be in an MIMS. I think.
Surely, surely. So about NMMS, NMMS is really a great college. It offers great curriculum in that sense, I would say. Being from VIT, even I've experienced a very interesting and diverse curriculum just like you guys do.
Yeah.
We had our presentations, seminars, and whatnot, and all of those things made us the real exploring engineers that we are. NMMS does offer similar opportunities. They have a bit more strict environment compared to our college, a very strict environment, I would say. Further, the syllabus or the way MBA is being taught there is really great. The case study approach that Harvard follows. So they follow it to a very similar extent. We even have some courses which are directly a replica of what Harvard teaches. We had a course on business communication and analysis, which is a structure that Harvard teaches with some different name, but the structure stays the same. So it is a way of leadership communication in that sense. So that way, NMMS does have a really great course structure to learn MBA. You get to learn a lot from the faculties. We have really very experienced faculties out there who teach us almost everything. Further, about the glass building and lavish life, sure, NMMS does have a very happening life for a student. We have multiple fests, multiple clubs, and all of those go to a very big extent. Recently, we had our Euphoria, wherein Arjun Konungo was the main
Yeah.
guest for us, and it was just really great. And about the glass building, oh yes, it is a luxury thing. The once you are inside, you feel just like being inside a mall or one of the big airports out there. And the 10
Yeah.
story building, the experience is just fabulous. You get the professional and executive feel in the campus, and that somehow I think excites the learning part of, yeah, I'll get to work in something like this, and that makes it really great. So that way, NMMS is a great college for any MBA aspirant to be there.
Yeah, some clips of your cafeteria and some clips of the lifts from the NMMS. It feels like where we are. Like, are we here for studying or we are just roaming around and having some chill life? So yeah, NMMS is a great school with a luxury class building. So coming to the next part, yeah. Uh, you guys can search on YouTube. There are number of videos having treating the NMIMS life. So coming to the next part, I would like you to explain our audience what are the different branches in MBA, like what we can say branches in our language, like finance. There is finance, there is marketing, sales, operations and supply chains, and many others. And how to choose, or what we can say, like many of the time we see the what we can say, we see the finance, the investment banking thing. They have a great pay package, their lifestyle is lavish and all, and we go towards the finance. Like we say that we want to be a MBA in finance, or we want to be an investment banking. But being an engineer, being a fresher, how to choose the right branch, what we can say, and what are the parameters to decide the branch we are taking. And yeah, that's it.
Okay. So about the branches in MBA, I would like to tell about NMMS that NMMS doesn't have branches in the first year itself. We have our first year common, and in the second year we get to choose our specializations. Right now we
Yeah.
just chose it a couple of weeks ago. So through this structure, what I got to understand was that you never choose the branch in MBA, the branch chooses you. You're
Okay.
automatically chosen by the branch, because being someone completely outside from business administration, all of the four are same for you. You don't know any single branch to a greater extent. You don't know any single branch at a lower extent. But you know all the four things similarly, which are four words: finance, marketing, operations,
Operations,
and
sales,
no sales, HR.
HR. Yeah, human resource.
Yes. So you just know all of these things hand in hand. Also, there are certain branches like strategy, consulting, which go greatly, but yeah, quite rare. So the major
Yeah.
four branches are operations. finance, marketing, and HR. HR stands out completely different because HR is all about managing human resources and not the actual resources. So the things HR people study are, I would say, almost 30-40% different from what the other three branches study. So
Okay.
that is one thing. For operations, finance, and marketing, these branches are continuously evolving. Even for someone who is into finance, just knowing finance nowadays is not the thing. Finance is evolving into fintech, and even he or she needs to understand technology. So, for an engineer, it makes sense to choose finance in a way. Similar goes for marketing. Marketing is evolving into martech, and now majority of the marketing happens through digital platforms. And for anyone doing marketing, it is very essential to understand the algorithms. Again,
Digital marketing, what we can say.
digital marketing is one sense. Algorithms, the literal algorithms that go on across different technology platforms.
Yeah.
Again, engineers come into picture. Similar goes for operations. Operations is continuously evolving and is greatly impacted by Industry 4.0. Hence, you need to understand how things like IoT, data analytics, big data, and all of these things work. And then engineers come into picture. So, just like I said, for an engineer, all the three things are same. Nothing is greater, nothing is small. But choosing the right branch before MBA is very difficult, I would say. It's almost impossible when I go on the other side. Even if I would have made a choice 10 months back before my MBA, I am definitely not sure if it would have been the right choice or not. So, going into MBA, if you have to choose before the MBA what branch you need to take, the first thing you need to do is understand what exactly comprises in that branch. In finance, there are multiple things: balance sheets, profit and loss statement, cash
Accounting.
flows. We just have no idea about how it works. For us, they are just numbers, but there go a lot of theories behind it on how those numbers are placed at different positions. Further, in finance, there are things like investment, corporate finance, how working capital works, and all of those things. So you need to understand these things at least to an extent, or at least comprehend them on whether I would be able to understand this or not, and only then make a decision. Marketing, many people say that it's just general out there, but no. Marketing is all about being creative. You need to think creatively, think out of the box. So for the coursework of MBA, marketing is all about understanding those out of the box approaches. Majority of the marketing part would be understanding case studies on how different companies, majorly the FMCGs, who have marketed their campaigns excellently,
Excellent.
how have they done it? Simple. That's all marketing coursework is for 2 years. But what about after 2 years? Are you going to replicate those campaigns? Definitely no.
No.
You will be working in some other ex FMCG company, and there you would have to create your own campaign for that company. That is the part where a marketer's job is. You need to understand how it is going to work. Will I be able to do it or not? Am I someone who thinks out of the box that way? Or am I someone who is willing to think out of the box that way? That is where you decide whether or not to take marketing. Operations, it's somewhere more relevant job to an engineer, I would say. Somewhere going into the plant, understanding how operations are working on the ground. It might be any industry for that matter. How things are working, what different technologies can be pushed in. I feel operations is somewhere where technology is pushed in right away. First way, it is impacted greatly there, and that is how you choose whether or not to take operations. And for HR, I would say whether or not you like to manage people, that is the only thing which makes HR a sense. I am not someone very appropriate to answer about HR because we
HR.
have very least interaction with them, and I that is about my psychology how choosing an HR would be. But definitely, choosing HR as a specialization would involve a lot more thinking.
Okay. Okay. Great answer. So, to the next question, like I guess you have done your CAT prep in your last year, right? So, in the last year, we are completely capped up with catched up with the final year project. If considering our VIT, we have two modules that one is in one we have to do a final year project, and in one
Right.
we have to compulsory do a internship.
Correct.
So, how you balance between the CAT prep and the internship or the final project model.
All right. So about the balance that we have to maintain, yeah, definitely our project demands a lot of time, and also the internship. If specifically talking about mechanical engineers, we get into those 8 and 10 hours of shift on the plants, and it becomes really difficult to manage studies along with it. But there is one simple answer to this: time management. You need to work for 15, 16 hours a day and just get it through, because there is no other option than devoting excess time to CAT. Although, if you have pre plans of just getting into CAT, like I had, I was sure that I want to attempt CAT only in my last year of engineering, and that is the only time I attempt CAT and all the MBA entrance examinations. So I made sure that I had things sorted in a way. The first thing I did was, instead of taking an industry internship, I worked on a research internship in our college itself. I was glad to find a project which was collaborated with ISRO, wherein I even got a better opportunity as an internship. And then for the second year final, for the final project that we do in our engineering, the same things worked out. Managing time, working X hours every prescribed day, so that you don't have to overwork for other days. And that is how just managing time and balancing it through makes it really well. For someone who works in an industry, if you joined internship in your first semester and then you decided upon doing CAT, then I think it is a bit difficult job managing the 8 hour shift and then getting to work. Then I would personally recommend it that make sure out of those 8 hours there is no time wasted. Out of those 8 hours, at least you get in for 4 hours consistently every day. Work through your entire MBA material, understand the syllabus, know about it, and just make sure you practice enough. And then Sundays and Saturdays, the weekends when you are not working in the company, you just need to make sure that the study time goes far more beyond than 8 to 10 hours, and only then things can be workable. Else it is a bit difficult, to be honest, on how things would work out. You need, just the first and foremost thing is to manage the time entirely. That's it.
Yeah, like one of our teachers in the MBA prep always say that if you want to be a manager, firstly you should manage your time. Like prioritize your things accordingly and manage your time. Then you will be a good manager at any level. Yeah.
Right.
So next question will be like uh, what how the VIT helps, especially like our curriculum is different from other colleges. So we have presentations, projects, and all that stuff. So how VIT helps in MBA, and what is the one advice that every VITian should follow if he or she is pursuing planning to do MBA?
Okay. So the curriculum of VIT first of all helps with one projects. When the people outside don't have something to show on what they exactly have done in the engineering, we have close to 20 to 30 proofs that we have done something. 20 to 30 projects is something we do in our 4 years, and that's really great. Because you get to showcase them on your CV of what specific task you have done in this X subject. The first advantage you get from that is you are able to constrain the interviewer's perspective to that particular subject. If you have, say, mentioned MAP, the metallurgy subject we have
What's
in your CV, the project of it, then the entire mechanical engineering knowledge for the panelist will just stick on the metallurgy part. You won't be asked about Tom, SOM, and other parts. Great. You are you have already reduced your effort. Second thing is, doing projects essentially means working out a particular problem and then deriving a solution for it under certain constraint terms. You have a constrained amount of resources, you have constrained time, and all of those things. So even before you step out from college, the person sitting in front of you knows that this person has the ability to first solve problems, second, to manage how to solve those problems, something more like a project manager does. And that is
Yeah.
how Your image is refined with the help of those projects. Third, specifically the club culture of our college, the positions of responsibility, they help a lot because even being a 20, 21-year-old kid, you always have an opportunity to show that I was responsible for some X amount of things. Obviously, the events in college or the amount dedicated to those events must be definitely low, very, very small. Not at all a problem. But you manage that in some or the other capacity. You may be a finance secretary, you may be multimedia secretary, you may be management head, whatever it is. But you have managed that one sector for the entire event. You are responsible for it. You're responsible for that entire structure of how that particular domain would work. And that's really great. You, the person or the panelist sitting in front of you, once he reads that position on your CV, he understands, oh, this person is capable of taking a responsibility and making sure that he carries it for the entire year. Your image goes up in that sense. And the greatest thing as a fresher you get from both of these things is that even the final year internship that we do, the biggest thing we get is we get things or stories to talk in the interview. The only feedback I had got in all my mock interviews was that there might be some other flaws with any other thing, but the only thing consistently I was told across my 5 or 6 mock interviews was that you have a lot of things to talk. And so, even if the interview stretch for one of mine was close to 40 minutes, but even after 40 minutes, he was like, it never felt to me that you are short of talking at now, right now. Even if I continued this for next 20, 30 minutes, I don't think you would stop. You would continuously keep on going. I had so many things to tell. He switched from one point to another. I had something done in that domain which I could tell. Maybe just at the club level where I had a position of responsibility, but yes, I have done it, right? I can talk about it. I have certain
Yeah.
X amount of experience in it. Great enough. So I think the curriculum or the diverse culture that we have in VIT essentially gives us the largest edge that we have, things which we could talk about, and mostly the experiences that we can share or the experiences that can help us to develop further and even answer in the MBA interview. Obviously, the greatest advantage.
Yeah. So, and what about the advice part? Like, what is the one advice? What will be the one advice that every VITian who is planning to do an MBA should follow?
So this advice goes for all the 4 years. If by chance any first year listens to this and plans to do an MBA or even a second year student, participate as much as you can. Participate in internships, participate in the work of clubs. I know the working in clubs is really difficult, not everyone likes it and whatnot, multiple things around it, but yes, you need to. The amount of exposure you get through this is just immeasurable. You get to interact with people, you understand how networking works, you get to take responsibility, and all of these things really count when you are sitting in front of a panelist with some 30, 35 year experienced veteran. I remember very well, we had during our interview, the person who took my interview in NMIMS, he is a visiting faculty, he teaches us now, Mr. Vivek Subramanyam. He was CEO of Pidilite, the paint which is used extensively across
Yes.
the entire country. He was the person who used to run it. And what essence would I as a 20, 22 year old kid make in front of that person? I just can't even match it. The amount of experience he has, that's not even my age.
Yeah.
So the exposure that we get through all of these diverse things at least gives us an opportunity to speak in front of someone with this much greatness. They consider us that, okay, you at least can speak in front of me. I won't
Yeah.
hash you right away, because if
Right.
there is some person who has just been through academics, who just has been into studies, who just has theoretical knowledge, you would say, okay, this is some anyone can do. What is special with you?
Yeah.
That special part is given to us by this diverse culture. So the only advice I would have is participate. Participate the hell out. Clubs, committees, Even in your projects, we have a big culture in our college that projects are being just done by 1, 2, 3 active members of the team. At least in every semester, take up one project, do it thoroughly, so that you have knowledge about one certain thing which you can tell about if asked in the future.
Yeah,
And fourth is, go on internships, try getting them. They might be online, they might be part time, you might just work for 2, 3, 4 hours a day, or you just work in the night mode. But yes, you get to interact with someone who is actually working in the industry. You learn a lot from them, you get to interact with them. Also, you get to learn the industry. Might not just be the engineering industry, any internship. Just be sure about what you exactly want to do, because there are a lot of fraudulent internships going around, so you need to be careful about that as well. But yes,
yeah,
participate, participate, participate. The only advice I would give.
yeah. That's one of the best advice. Like I will also advise my juniors. Like you have to participate. If there is any club, like in our VIT, we have number of club, numerous. Like you name a domain and there is a club for it. So
Exactly.
uh, if you have interest in something, you can participate in any club and have that exposure of managing things and managing your workload with the club workload. It teaches us a lot, really. So we are moving towards our last segment of the interview. So for an engineer like me, who is pursuing engineering, my future goal is to be MBA from any of the best top colleges with any of the best branch. What is the future goal for an MBA graduate? Like what next? Now, after the engineering, we are told or we had known about MBA, but what next after MBA? Like what are the best top three future opportunities after MBA?
So in MBA, there is nothing like top opportunities. Many say that consulting careers are the greatest opportunities, but no, it is very subjective answer. Like for me, I don't like consulting. So even if I get a call from McKinsey, I would say no, I don't want it, because that's not something I would like to do anyway.
Yeah.
So this is how for MBA the future would be like whatever I have finally started liking in MBA, maybe operations, marketing, finance. I want to be the best at it. I want to learn more, because in terms of MBA, it is like that. You, if you let's say take finance, you are not just competing with some other 100, 150 people who know finance or who have studied finance with you. You are competing even with CAs.
CS. Yeah.
They have far more knowledge than any other person can have, and you have to sit beside them. How will you do that? The largest thing after MBA is that you need to keep polishing your knowledge continuously. There is nothing like end goal after MBA. MBA is the end. After MBA, there is eternity and just continuity. Continuous polishing of knowledge, continuous working out on things. And yes, the goal might be to get a topmost position in whatever field you have chosen finally. May it be operations, marketing, finance. You just have to be at the top in that. Take one company, be there, switch company, and go on. There always can't be just one top goal. But this continuous goal is, I think, what drives every MBA aspirant. He or she just, the goal is based on every day. I wake up every day to say, okay, I need to figure these 10 things out today, so that I'll be able to answer them tomorrow. Else, tomorrow is screwed up. I need to make
Yeah.
sure tomorrow goes great, so I need to work today. That is all a goal of every MBA aspirant would be, or any person doing an MBA would be, to get tomorrow right.
Okay. So okay, there was a famous meme. आज मतलब आज का तो सोच लूंगा कल का क्या. That was one of the famous meme of some stand-up comedian.
Exactly.
So then moving to our last segment. This is a rapid fire round. We have some basics question,
Sure,
and this
sure.
is the last segment. So to start with the first question in the rapid fire round, favorite spot in the VIT campus?
Favorite spot in VIT campus? Okay, canteen.
Yeah, which one? VIT, FC,
VIT
or
canteen. VIT
yeah?
canteen.
Okay. Favorite food in VIT canteen?
Fried rice.
Fried rice. Okay. So next, one word to describe the transition from engineering to management.
Dynamic.
Dynamic. Yeah. One thing you miss most about the mechanical engineering or VIT pool?
The exploration that we get at VIT, infinite, humongous, I would say.
I was expecting VN.
I definitely do miss VN.
Yeah. One skill you wish you had developed earlier.
One skill I wish I had developed at VIT.
Yeah.
At VIT, I would say finance.
Okay. I am in finance secretary for this year. So, one piece of advice for your younger self.
Hmm? Participate. The same
Participate.
advice for me too.
Okay. This one is tricky. If you could switch places with any business leader from the world for a day, who will be and why?
Oh, great question. Any world leader and why?
Business world leader.
Yeah, obviously business world. I would definitely switch it with Steve Jobs,
Oh,
Apple CEO. Any day. Like you gave me an opportunity to do it with anyone. So with Apple definitely. Because they need innovation. I mean seriously, they do need it.
yeah.
I get all the
Uh,
innovation stuff on that one day and make sure Apple gets something new out of it.
but Apple is an interesting case study. Like
It's different.
innovate, they innovate at last, but the marketing or what we can say the perception of the brand, it is at a different level. Like any of the person who is having a 1 lakh or 1,20,000, he will buy iPhone. He will not say that yeah, this Samsung phone has different features or innovative features, but he will need an iPhone only. So that is something different level which Steve Jobs has cracked, and he is
There
one
is a
of the
thing called positioning in the market. So Apple
yeah
is all about that. They've positioned them so right that even if they charge for like 1 lakh for a phone, which you get a similar one at 20, 30,000, even then people will buy the 1 lakh.
yeah, and it is all the like what we can say mind of Steve Jobs. He has done it very well.
It
Like
is all about the brand perception.
like I have gone through some videos where he had shown that iPod. Like what in the mind he was doing from the small bucket? What is the use of small bucket? You can use the iPod there. So he was a marketing expert. What we can say.
Definitely a
Uh,
genius.
yeah. The last question for the rapid fire round. Best piece of advice you have received during your MBA or what we can say throughout your life.
The greatest advice I had received was to read because I
Okay.
was someone who just didn't like reading. I can watch videos endlessly, I can watch case studies through videos, but I never used to read. In the past 2 years, the thing I started right out was reading. Reading can be of any genre, not just for someone doing an MBA. It is important to read about business. No, it's definitely not. It is to be updated, not about to read each and everything. So just reading, because reading gives you new perspectives. Even if you read murder mysteries, there is at the end something you derive from it.
Yeah.
Some or the other good thing, not how the murder was done, definitely, but how the protagonist was able to crack it. And
Yeah. Yeah.
the perspectives that you get from whatever you read, may it be the news, may it be books, novels, the perspectives are great. They help you with problem solving in some or the other way. And that is, I think, really helps you a lot. And yes, reading, it is.
Okay. The follow-up question: what will be the three best books by you?
I usually read mythology and somewhat about patriotism and stuff. So for mythology, the first one I would suggest is the one of the bestseller Shiva trilogy. I have read it through and through multiple times. Second
Okay.
is the Kalki trilogy. It's also a great thing to read. You get a lot of new perspectives from it, not on a mythological basis, but on the problem solving basis. And third one is The Brave. It is a book written about all these soldiers who have been martyred
Yeah.
since 1947,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's
I've
really great.
heard of.
So
Okay.
these three books are my best recommendation. They are always at my shelf. I've read even some of them multiple times. So yeah, that's great.
Okay. Yeah. So great. That's it. We had almost an hour long interview, and you have been a great sport. Uh, Now, for the audience, the question and answer forum is open. If you want to ask anything, Amol is here with us and he has a lot of experience. You can ask anyone. Mm, anyone from the audience?
Hello.
Yeah.
Means I'm not disrespecting, but I don't have a question. Not because I don't understand anything, but because the clarity the podcast went with the question and answering and everything, the answers and the questions were all the right play. So it's not that it's because I don't have the clarity. I don't have the questions. So that's it. That was my comment. I'll say. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
I have one question.
Yes,
What is
Pujas.
PGDM, PGPM, MMS? Are they different degrees or different names?
Okay, so PG, PM, PGDM. Uh, the DM1 is a diploma, postgraduate diploma. So it falls in the category of a diploma. Diploma has some different allowances, clearances. It is sometimes not recognized as a postgraduate degree. It is just another diploma. The PGPM1, postgraduate program in management, it is altogether a different thing. It is a program precisely, just constrained in those parts. It is the least recognized postgraduate degree, I would say, in international universities and stuff. They don't recognize PGPM as a postgraduate degree. And MBA is a normal post graduation where you do a master's just like you do MTech. MTech, MBA. Simple. So MBA is the most widely recognized postgraduate form of management. But now PGDM and PGPM are also coming up, and at places they have even started getting recognition. But yeah, apart from the value that they have or the rules and allowances they have, there is nothing different with respect to the curriculum. If getting your post graduation in management is your last goal, then I don't think getting PGDM, PGPM, or MBA affects you at all.
I
Okay,
hope
thank you.
that answers your question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any other questions? Anyone? I guess that's it. Yeah. Okay. So, thank you, Amol. It had been an incredible session. Like most of the questions were from me. I am being an MBA aspirant. I was eager to talk to you. We had talked earlier, but it was a short talk, and I was honored to have an interview with you. So a huge thank you to you for sharing your inspiring journey from engineering to management, from VIT Pune to NMIMS, your insights into MBA, your insights into preparation of MBA. It has been great. You have enlightened us with your inspiring journey. A big shout out to our enthusiastic audience for your participation and curiosity. Special thanks to our core team, faculty advisor, and volunteers for making this event a success. Stay connected with Vishwa for more such inspiring sessions. We will be having more of Engineers Blueprint podcast, and surely there will be many other sessions like us. Stay connected, and I officially declare that interview is over. Thank you, Amar.
Thank you so much.